Girl Scout song with the line, "Make new friends but keep the old. One is silver and the other gold." That song is going to be stuck in all of your heads for the rest of the day, and I'm really, really sorry about that. But I bring it up because the ambiguity of that line has always kind of stuck out to me. As a kid, it drove me nuts trying to figure out which of my friends were silver and which were gold. And then I grew up a little and realized that trying to quantify the relative importance of my friendships was probably not healthy. But that understanding continued to develop into a broad idea about how the duration of a relationship or interaction is not necessarily tied to its importance. People collide, sticking or ricocheting with such frequency in our lives, each of them leaving little bits of themselves with us, regardless of how noticeable their intersection was at the time. The two submissions that we received this week speak to that concept. Both are set during transit, both involve chance encounters, and both have hung with their authors for the years that followed. Amanda's took her across a continent, and Bianca's across a city. Amanda's speaks to intrusion, while Bianca describes expansion. Neither saw their main characters again, but both highlight the lingering impact of chance encounter. With bags and eyes brimming, Amanda settled in for an 11-hour flight out of Hawaii. Relegated to a middle seat by the needs of the woman settling into Amanda's previously assigned aisle seat, she becomes trapped between two examples of the most dangerous personality type in air travel: the shameless extrovert. She's trying to hold mental space for the tearful goodbyes, the treasured keepsakes slipped into hands over queue barriers, and those final whispered reminders that she could just stay, just not move back to the East Coast. Under these conditions, Amanda survived 11 hours of stories about goats. Not stories about real goats, mind you, but about possible goats in an imagined apple orchard that this seat stealer did not yet own, but insistently desired. From the other side came unsolicited relationship advice courtesy of the millionaire, perhaps philanderer, building a vacation home for his new wife on the islands. For 11 hours, her naps were denied. Her reminiscences were pushed out by the chatter of two people for whom reading the room is a challenge, to say the least. Bianca's experience comes from a similarly unsolicited encounter. With headphones buzzing, she waits for the 84 at Peterson and Damon. Alongside her, an older woman begins to gesture, to motion for conversation. In that early morning moment, as Bianca pulls her headphones away, she is drawn to an ethereal quality in the woman's presence. From this most mundane of places, Bianca is carried into a conversation about dreams and danger and emergent beauty. The two trade descriptions of fantastical beasts and vast purple skies, and through that they find an unspoken understanding in a vision of the world that sits just beyond our own. But Cole, you might observe, you started this by getting a rhyme about friends stuck in my head, and neither of these stories are really about friends, and that observation would be true. It would be astute, and it would be true. However, both of these stories are about the evolution of that rhyme about friends. The understanding, as Amanda puts it, that just because a moment has passed doesn't mean that the impact we make on friends and strangers is over. For me, it can at times be a pleasant thought or a crippling responsibility to know that the consequences of my actions may linger for longer than my memories of taking them in the first place. For Bianca's part, I sit at that stop every day on the way to work. I've never seen her again, but I think about her often. And that evolution, I feel, is where Quilt came from. See, I've kept a little secret during this episode. This is going to be our last in the current series of Quilt. We want to cover some other material as well while we are apart from you all, so I wanted to finish up for now with an episode that captured the original inciting question that led me to make Quilt. How do we connect a bunch of strangers distanced by necessity to one another and their cultural landscape? How do we fulfill Raven's mission under these conditions? And the answer was to provide a space that acknowledges all the different ways in which we connect to one another that are not readily apparent in our daily lives. Because that's what we do in theater. We create a space to engage with the world. And I'm looking forward to doing that with you in person once more. So happy Wednesday, Quilt family, and we'll see you soon.